Today I'm leading you through a 30-minute gentle yoga stretch. You'll need a yoga mat and maybe a big cushion or folded blanket to sit on. If we haven't met, I'm Sharon. I teach beginner-friendly yoga, especially with a busy office worker in mind. In the description below this video, you can access my free PDF, 5-minute morning yoga. This is an easy routine that you can do from your bed to help you have an easier start to your day. So if you're ready, roll out your yoga mat and let's begin. Find a comfortable seated position. It can help if you raise up your seat either on a rolled up blanket or a big cushion. And just start to close or lower the eyes. And start to become aware of your breathing. Lengthening the inhales and exhales. And see if you can make a sound in the back of your throat as you inhale and exhale through the nose. So we call this ujjayi breathing in yoga. So you're making a sound in the back of your throat as you inhale and exhale through the nose. So you should be able to hear yourself breathing. And through the class today, if you find that your breath ever becomes choppy or erratic, then that might be a sign that you need to back off, maybe take a rest. Come back to your breathing and then rejoin when you're ready. So blink the eyes open and take the hands out to the sides, and then as you inhale, raise the right arm up, and as you exhale, bending over to the left side. So keep both sitting bones grounded. The breath is nice and long. You're feeling that stretch along the right side of your body all the way down to the sitting bone. And then inhale up, cross that arm over to the opposite knee and take a twist to the left. So the left arm comes behind. As you inhale, lift the chest, and as you exhale, twisting a little bit more over to the left. So on each inhale, thinking about lengthening the spine, and on each exhale, thinking about twisting. One last inhale. Exhale, and then gently coming back to the center. So to the other side, inhale the left arm up and exhale, bending over to the right side. And let that bottom shoulder relax. Keeping both sitting bones grounded, so feeling that stretch along the left side of the body all the way down to the sitting bone. The breath is nice and long. And then inhale to come up, cross that arm over to the opposite knee. The right hand comes behind. As you inhale, you lift the chest, and exhale to twist. So nice and broad across the shoulders and the chest, inhaling to lift and lengthen the spine, and exhale to twist. So these poses are never really static because we're always breathing. So there's always some movement in the poses. And then release back to the front. If you're sitting on something, just move it out of the way. So come to a tabletop position. So the hands are underneath the shoulders, the knees are underneath the hips, and really press those palms of the hands and the fingers into the mat. Inhale to lift the chin a little, lift the tailbone, arching the spine. And exhale, round the spine, looking towards the thighs. Inhale, arch the back, almost like you're trying to press your chest through your arms. Exhale, round, let the head and neck go. Inhale, arch, lifting the tailbone, chest is forwards. Exhale to round the back, pushing the floor away from you. And one more like that, really getting some nice movement in the spine. Exhale to round. And then come back to a neutral tabletop position. So tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back into your first downward facing dog. So pressing the floor away, you can readjust the feet if you need to. So this is our first downward dog, so you might be feeling quite tight in the backs of the legs, and that's okay. You just bend the knees, allow the heels to lift, press the floor away, almost like you're trying to press your chest against your thighs. One last inhale. And then exhale, lower the knees, the big toes together, the knees wide, and coming into child's pose. So if it's more comfortable, you might want a big cushion underneath your seat, and that can make the hips and knees more comfortable. And just relax. If the forehead does reach the floor, you might want to massage the forehead by just rolling the head a little from side to side. It's an option. Feeling the breath opening up the ribs and the back. And then come back up to tabletop. So find your position. So the palms of the hands are pressing down, the fingers are pressing down. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, press the floor away from you into another downward facing dog. So the arms are strong, the palms and the fingers are pressing down, and the chest is pressing back towards the thighs. One last inhale. And then walk the hands and the feet towards each other. So the feet are about hip width distance apart. The hands come to the shins and we're in a flat back position. So we're really lengthening the spine here. So if you find that your back is rounding, then bend your knees more and maybe even come up higher. So we're really trying to get the roundness out of the spine. Breathing nice and long. The head and neck are neutral, looking down. Last inhale. And then exhale to fold. The hands reach wherever they reach. And then we'll do that a few times. So inhale, the hands come to the shins, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, release the head and neck. Inhale to flat back, hands against the shins, chest forwards. Exhale, release. We'll do that one more time. So inhale to flat back and exhale to release. And then from here, bend the knees quite generously and we're going to roll all the way up to stand. So you can use the hands on the thighs if it helps. Coming up slowly. Keep the chin to the chest, just allowing the blood pressure to stabilize. And then when you get there, have a big shoulder roll. Shoulders come up and back and just let the chin and the head come back up to neutral. So walk to the front of your mat. The feet are about hip width distance apart. Bring the hands together to prayer position, the thumbs against the chest. And maybe close or lower the eyes. We're in mountain pose. It's a good pose to just reset and come back to the breath. So the feet are pressing evenly down. Thinking about your posture, standing nice and tall, the shoulders are relaxed, the head and neck are neutral, the chin is slightly tucked. And then open the eyes again. I'm going to face you just so that you can see me, but you can stay where you are. So inhale, the arms up. And exhale, just coming back down with the hands, pressing the air down. And back to mountain pose. So inhale, the arms up. And exhale, press the air down. And coming back to mountain pose. This time, inhale, the arms up. Clasp the hands at the top and exhale, bending to one side, doesn't matter which side. Inhale, back up. And exhale, bending to the other side. Inhale up. And exhale, press the air down. So we'll do one more of those. Inhale, the arms up. Clasp the hands together, and as you exhale, bending to one side. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the other side. Inhale up. And exhale to press the air down. So from the top of your mat, inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, bend the knees a little and dive down with a flat back. Release the head and neck. Inhale, flat back, hands against the shins. Exhale, take the right foot back, and we're going to pivot round so that you're facing the long edge of the mat. So we're in a wide leg forward fold position. Bring the fingertips to just in front of you, so you're on your fingertips, and your knees can be bent if need be, that's fine. So trying to get that flat back position again. The feet are pressing down, the legs are active, and remembering to breathe, keeping that breath nice and long. So bring the right hand or the fingertips underneath your face. Take your left hand to your hip, and as you inhale, twist to the left side. So this might be enough, or you might want to reach that arm up. If that's awkward, then just keep the hand on the hip and take a couple of breaths here. So the hips might move, getting into that twist as far as is comfortable. Last inhale, and exhale, bring the hand back down. So the hand or the fingertips of the left hand are in front of the face. The other hand comes to the hip, and on an inhale, twisting to the right side. So again, this might be enough, or you might want to raise that hand up. The feet are still pressing down, using the hand or the fingertips on the floor as a bit of a lever. Last inhale. And exhale, bringing the hand back down. So ground through the feet, and the knees are soft. Bring the hands to the hips, and you're going to come up through a flat back position, so nice and strong. So for triangle, bring the arms out to the sides. Take the left toes and point them to the front of the mat. The back toes angle in a little bit. The chest is facing the long edge of the mat, and then reach out over that left arm, left leg, reaching as far as you can, and then that left hand comes down to wherever it reaches on the leg, and then rotate the shoulder, the top shoulder and the ribs up to the ceiling, and this might be where you stay, taking a few breaths here, or you might want to take the arm up, maybe looking up towards the thumb, only going as far as is comfortable. So if you're finding that this is awkward and the shoulder is kind of tilting downwards, then you might want to just stay here. And you might want to keep your gaze forwards. Long breathing. So to come out, look down first of all, being careful with your neck. Put a micro bend in that left knee, and then coming up with strength. So the toes point back to the front, and then we'll switch sides. So the right foot goes out and the back toes come in a little. The chest is facing forwards, and then reaching out long over the right leg, reaching as far as you can, And then that hand comes down to the leg wherever it reaches. The shoulder and the ribs open up to the ceiling. So again, you choose as far as you go. This might be enough. Maybe that arm comes up to the ceiling, and maybe the gaze goes up towards the thumb. Taking a few breaths. The feet are pressing down. The legs are active. And the breath is long. And then to come out, look down. Micro bend in that leg, and then coming up with strength. So the toes point back to the front. Bring the hands to the hips. As you inhale, open the chest. And then exhale, let the hands run down the legs through that flat back position. So you can either stay with the previous version where we had the back in a flat back position, or you can fold all the way and let the head and neck relax. If your hands don't reach the floor, they might be on the legs, you might have the knees bent, so just doing what feels right for you. Letting the head and neck go. Breathing nice and deeply. Making sure that the weight is balanced across both feet. There might be a slight tilting forwards with the weight in the balls of the feet, just slightly. And then from here, crawl yourselves back to the top of the mat and we'll come to a lunge. So don't worry about which foot's forwards. So crawl yourself up onto your leg with your hands and just find stability here. So you might want to shuffle that foot over towards the edge of the mat. That might be more stable. And you can have the back toes tucked under or released. And if you find that you're on a hard floor and your knee needs more padding, one thing you can do is fold the mat over and give your knee some extra padding that way. And if you want more intensity, that knee goes further back. Less intensity, the knee is further in. And it's quite an intense stretch, so it's fine if you're further up here. One more breath. And then release, changing sides, so don't worry how it looks. You might need to help the other foot forwards. And again, crawling yourself up with your hands on your leg, finding stability. So again, you might need to shuffle that foot over to the edge of the mat. So this is a really good stretch for the hips. If you spend a lot of time sitting, I know I've spent a lot of time sitting in offices, so this is almost like the opposite of sitting in a chair. It's a really good stretch for that hip. And it takes time, so if you're kind of further up here, then don't worry. It just takes a little bit of time to stretch out the front of the hips. Nice deep breathing. And then the hands come to the floor and release. So coming back to tabletop, and then just lower your belly to the floor. However you get there is fine. So for Sphinx pose, the elbows come underneath the shoulders, the hands are flat, the legs are active, and draw the tummy in. That helps to make the lower back feel better, so we don't want to collapse into the back. And then breathing here, so imagine that you're trying to drag the floor back towards you. So the hands and the forearms and the elbows stay where they are, but it's like you're imagining that you're trying to drag. There's like an energetic dragging back position, and you'll feel that as more of an active pose. Nice long deep breathing. And then release. Take the hands underneath the shoulders. And we'll do a few cobras here. So the elbows are tucked into the sides. As you inhale, lift the chest. And exhale to release. Inhale, the shoulders down the back. And exhale to release. Couple more like that. Inhale, a small back bend, elbows are tucked into the sides, and exhale, release. Inhale, cobra, and this time we'll breathe here for a few breaths. So the hands are pressing down, but you're also using the strength of the back of the body. And it can just be a small cobra. You might come up a little bit further, just making sure it's comfortable for your back. Elbows are tucked in. Last inhale. And exhale to release. And then push yourself up and come to sit on your mat. So come into a straddle stretch. Legs are comfortable, as wide as is comfortable. The fingertips are behind. The toes are pointed upwards. So you might find that your knees are more comfortable bent. And this is a big stretch. So this might be far enough, or you might find that you can tip forwards a little bit. So you inhale to lift the chest and exhale to fold from the hips, and maybe the hands come in front. If you find that you're really rounding, then it might be better to stay with the fingertips behind. So we're tipping forwards from the hip creases, not by rounding the spine. So inhaling to lift the chest, the spine is long, and exhaling to fold from the hip creases. A couple more breaths like that. So again, these poses, even when they look like they're static, they're not, because we're moving, we're breathing. One more breath cycle, inhaling to lift the chest, exhaling to fold from the hips. And then gently release, come back up, bring the legs together, and then recline onto your back. And when you get there, hug the knees into the chest. Just take a moment, maybe rock from side to side. Bring the feet down to the floor. For bridge pose, we want the feet to be flat. The toes are facing forwards, and make sure that the big toes stay pressed into the mat. On an inhale, lift the hips as high as is comfortable. And you might want to hold on to the edges of the mat, and you can tuck and scoot the shoulders underneath, just going as far as is comfortable. You might find that you can release the hands, the arms are active, and you can even clasp the hands under the back. But if this is at all uncomfortable, then just go to one of the previous versions. So the feet are pressing evenly down. There might be a tendency to kind of roll out on the outsides of the feet and let the knees flare out. So pressing the big toes down. One more inhale. And exhale to slowly lower back down to the floor. Reclining pigeon, we'll take the right foot or right ankle across the left thigh and gently push that right thigh away from you. To go further, you can hug that left thigh in towards you. Both feet are flexed, and you're feeling that stretch in the right outer thigh. Breathing nice and deeply. And then release. So switching sides, the left ankle across the right thigh, the foot is flexed, and then maybe you stay there, gently pressing that knee away, or maybe you hug the right leg in towards you, flexing both feet. And taking some nice deep breaths. Taking a little scan of the body, and just see what doesn't need to be working, see if anything else can relax. Maybe the face can relax, maybe the forehead, the shoulders. And then release. Hug the right knee in towards you, the left leg is extended, and just give the hip a little bit of movement, maybe from side to side. And then place that right foot on the left knee, and we're going to twist that right knee over to the left, but before we do, just shift the hips a little to the right and then allow that knee to twist over to the side. And then the right hand can come out to the side, either straight out to the side or with a bent elbow. So we're not trying to get that knee to reach the floor, it's more of a parallel position there. And again, just see what can relax, see what doesn't need to be working. Breathing into whatever you're feeling. And then come back up, readjust the spine and switch sides. So this time the left knee hugs in, the right leg's extended, and then just give that hip some movement from side to side. And then place that foot on the opposite knee, and then before we twist over to the right side, just shift the hips a little to the left, and then allow that knee to twist over to the right. And then the other hand can come out directly to the side or bent at the elbow. And again, just scanning the body and seeing what can relax. And then release, coming back to the center, readjust the spine, hug the knees into the chest, rock a little bit from side to side. And then one big last hug. You might want to bring the forehead up to the knees, give yourself a really big hug, big inhale, and then exhale into relaxation. So then you can have the knees bent, the feet flat, or you can extend the legs if it's comfortable. The palms are facing up. And just taking a couple of minutes here for rest and relaxation. Noticing how the body feels compared to the beginning of the practice. It might feel different. And just absorbing the effects of the class.